Okay. We are live. Welcome back. Age of Men podcast is back in full effect. We've been gone for too long. So now we're back. It's going to be a fantastic show for you guys tonight. We appreciate you guys for being here. Age of Men podcast is back in full effect. We've been gone for
Sorry,
Julius. I got a doppelganger out there, guys. I knew it was real. They say aliens are real, but hey, I didn't believe it until now. So
I didn't have a notification set and it just popped up on my computer. My bad.
Yeah, I got a twin out there. Hopefully, he's more handsome than me.
So we appreciate show if it wasn't full of mistakes from the jump.
Right. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Do hit that like button. It definitely helps out the algorithm. If you're not subscribed and you come across this YouTube channel, do subscribe. It definitely helps out as well. And comment below what you think after you watch this podcast. A lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about a whole lot tonight about traditionalism versus modern when it comes to modern dating in today's society in 2023. The red pill community, is it benefiting men? We're going to be talking about Steven Crowder's divorce. Are trad cons safe? I mean, we know that modern people have problems, but do conservatives have problems as well? That's the question we're going to be talking about. And then last but not least, we'll be doing reactions to videos and talking about what's going on in the culture and things like that. So appreciate you guys for being here. God bless you all. I want to introduce the whole panel tonight. So you guys know me today with Julius. You guys been following me. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Gab, Facebook, Rumble, all that good stuff. So you guys know me, follow me on all those platforms. And to my, I guess, whatever side this is on, we got we got Amy. Amy, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience. Let them know who you are, what you're all about.
Hi guys, I'm Amy, or known as Icy Amy on my socials, or For the Souls podcast, because I also have my own podcast and I am the host of it. Clearly, I pretty much just share testimony as well as some politics. And that's what I do. I'm a mom of 4, a wife, stay at home. So lightweight traditional.
Base. And then right below me, I feel like the Brady Bunch. Like, here's a story. Right below me, we got Miss Angela Knight all over TikTok. She's been on on YouTube, on Fresh and Fit podcast, whatever podcast, all the podcasts out there. Angela, let the folks know who you are and what you're all about.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name's Angela, Angela Knight, also known as Angela Knight 2.0. I'm a relationship coach, and I focus on helping others find traditional love in a modern world that we currently live in, and be more realistic with our goals and not fighting against each other. That's it.
Nice. Amazing. And last but not least, we got C3 Nick. If y'all don't know about C3 Nick, what does the C3 Nick stand for? Common sense culture. This dude has all the, I don't want to say conspiracy theories, let's just call them facts. It's all the facts on what's going on with politics. This man will tell you about Operation Mockingbird. That's a whole conversation within itself. Don't want to get demonetized. YouTube, I love you. But nonetheless, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Nick. Tell the folks who you are.
That's all allegedly, YouTube. That's allegedly. No, my name's Nick. Common Sense Culture, like Julius said, aka Common Sense Cult. The only cult in the world where we insist you bring your own Kool-Aid. You got to think for yourself over here. I got no particular projects on the horizon right now. I'm just super excited to get back to this. Age of Men, let's go.
Nice. Whoops. Hold on. Gotta fix this. Okay, there we go. My mic is muted there. Good stuff. Again, appreciate you guys for being here. It's going to be a fantastic show. Again, make sure you guys are following us on all social media platforms. What I did was I did put Amy, you, and Angela's. I put you guys' link to Instagram down below. It's already there. So if you guys want to follow Amy or Angela, links are down below. Again, appreciate you guys. All right, so let's just jump right into it. So you guys see the thumbnail. The thumbnail says traditional versus modern. And the question I actually want to pose to Amy and Angela is, what is the difference of the traditionalism and the modernism, if you will, and what does it mean to be traditional in 2023? And Amy, we'll start with you.
So I would say right now, with the climate of culture, being a modern woman almost is taking on a more masculine role. Like you're switching what would be the traditional roles in a marriage. For me, I like to take a more traditional approach to my marriage. So I don't mind being the stay-at-home wife, taking care of the children while my husband goes to work and he provides. And I actually feel like that's more conducive to a healthy marriage, but also a healthy family dynamic. You know, I birthed my children. If I'm at home being able to raise them, I can instill the values, the morals, the foundation in them that will set them up for success in their life. And I feel like modernism right now kind of convinces women that they need to be the breadwinners. Don't take care of your kids, have your kids in daycare, you go work, you go provide. And it kind of just eliminates that positive role in like their lives or in a family dynamic. And I feel like when you don't have a traditional woman in the family, it's really easy for your family to get infiltrated mentally, spiritually, emotionally, because then culture becomes mom. You know what I mean? Social media becomes mom. Um,
Yep.
Influencers become mom rather than mom being at home being mom.
Yeah, it's not just the government who's your daddy; it's social media who's your mommy.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. No,
Everybody's your
seriously.
mommy who ain't your actual mommy at that point.
Yeah.
right,
Because
it's crazy.
where there's a void, we look for it externally, you
Hmm.
know, and I feel like traditionally, when that void is filled with that maternal, you know, influence in the home, it just provides for a more stable future, if you ask me.
Do you ever get shamed for being that traditional, uh, having that role? Like, do you get shamed by other women who see you talk about it?
I mean, there has been some women that are like, you know, oh, I can never be at home. I could never stay at home because that, you know, they feel like depending on a man is a negative. And I think honestly, that's a trauma response. I think that probably didn't have good examples of a healthy masculine and a healthy feminine in their life. So when they see a woman who is comfortable in that space, who actually enjoys being a mom that's a stay at home, who enjoys being able to have a reliant husband, I think for them it's foreign. And I feel like what people don't know, they judge. So I have had people that like talk mess, but then I also have people when they hear me talk about like the fact that in my opinion, I think this is the best form of dynamic to have within a family. I do get on the opposite end a lot of the independent females that feel like I'm attacking them for their life choices, which I'm not. Do as you please. But given the fact that I do have 4 children, I know how much work it takes to raise them. And I know how you only get one chance to raise your kids. I stand on my opinion that it's better to have a mother in the home raising her children. So
Interesting.
I get some pushback, but not a lot.
Yeah, they. What's that saying go? They hate me because they hate me.
Period.
Hey, I wouldn't mess with her. I wouldn't push back too hard.
Um,
Yeah.
so Angela, your take on that? What does it mean to be traditional in 2023? And do you kind of find yourself in that same backlash of like you wanted to be kind of like more traditional, maybe more submissive? They're like, oh my god, girl, it's like slavery. What are you doing? Be out there, get wild, liberate yourself. You ever find yourself in that position?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't have kids like Amy, so I guess my circumstance is a lot different than hers. I'm also 28, so for me, growing up in a family where there were quote unquote traditional values, but we lived in such a modern family, you know, they're immigrants, so they had to adapt the culture of America a lot, and it took away from their innocence and what they wanted to be traditional. So I would say, like, because we do live in a modern world, it's almost hard for two people to for one person to be completely working and then one person staying at home. It's almost impossible. And that's where like I focus on, because I think it's the transition that you want to get to in life eventually, for one person to be working, but you have to have a healthy relationship to get to that point, emotionally, financially, mentally, all the good, all the above. And this, with this generation, with the way that kids are being raised, you know, shoving iPhones in their faces, it's not really the healthiest manner for like for both people to think that, oh yeah, you know, I want to stay at home, I want to stay at home, everyone's to stay at home. It's just really unhealthy at this point, with the dynamics, because everyone's confused with, are we in a modern world, or why do we keep talking about traditional values? And to me, it's like, how can we find that happy medium, because it is very expensive for people to just push all the pressure onto men, for one guy to have to even find his identity, find his finances, find the love of his life, and support himself, support his wife, even retire his mom and dad. Like, those are the values that we used to have. It's almost impossible to achieve nowadays because we don't even have an identity, because everyone's on social media and we're steering away from core values. We're comparing ourselves to what we see on social media, which is like cars, fancy things, flashy stuff, and, OnlyFans. So those are the things that are distracting you from what traditionalism is. But all I constantly hear online is like how men want traditional submissive women. So my struggle with that, with, talking to people and bringing them to light, like, yes, I understand that the struggle is women are more independent nowadays and it's unfair. But if you really think about it, women are more independent now, financially, but if you learn how to emotionally connect with them, they're more willing to grow with you and be your ally, as opposed to putting all the pressure on you, to believe it or not. And that's just maybe my own anecdotal experience, and that's where my relationship stands. And I've definitely learned that the values are there traditionally, but because we do have the opportunity and we didn't have the luxury to put all the pressure on him, I have to work also. So.
And I want to
You,
piggyback off of that if I can.
yeah, go ahead.
I definitely would say I would agree with Angela that economically, because we are living in modern times, it's not how it used to be back when our parents grew up, that they could afford providing for a family off of one income. It does definitely make the whole playing field a game changer. And I have seen like a lot, like I have an example of my best friend. She was like super independent, like totally opposite of me, right? And then she met her man, and because of how his masculinity that he brings into their relationship and his traditional values, she also has to the core, like her morals are super traditional, but she's also a hybrid. She's super independent. And I noticed that in a lot of women that obviously have to be independent because survival, right? You have to provide for yourself. Once that person came into their life that like provided that other half that they were needing, it was like really easier for her to transition into being more I guess old school traditional, like more submissive, more like, oh, I would totally let my man lead. But they also have this like modern understanding of like, she'll pay some of the bills, he pays like the most important ones like rent, she'll help financially because she can in certain aspects, and that just helps their dynamic with how they are as people, which I think it's to each their own what works best, but definitely I will say that it does, what Angela said is true, it does make it harder in today's economy to provide for a whole family off of one income. And I think a lot of people that are dating feel that stressor, in terms of wanting to own a home, wanting to, have a car, and just, the things that add value, I guess, to your life and your generations to come.
Maybe three things to that. I want to kind of just touch on. Angela, you said something when you were on, I believe, Valuetainment Money, Sauce podcast. Great podcast, by the way. I like Sauce. That dude's a funny guy, man. He's just beyond funny. But you mentioned something about, which is interesting. You said that individually we're traditional already because we got to take care of ourselves. We got to pay the bills. We got to cook, clean, things like that. Do you think that that's the happy medium that you're talking about, that we already do it for ourselves when we come together? Why not kind of find that balance versus, I'm not trying to say that man should be above or women low. I'm just saying, like, do you think that's the happy medium right there, is that we're already individually traditional, so bring that same thing when you guys come together?
Yeah, that's essentially what I'm saying, because I would say, like, you guys seem like you're in your 20s. So let's say you start dating a girl right now. That girl has already, I don't know how old you guys are. Everyone be,
We're both 36, by the way.
Oh, that's
Say
cute.
black,
We're
baby,
in our
black
20s, Angela. We're in our 20s.
Oh, okay. So if you start dating a girl right now, you don't know, like, that girl raised here wasn't raised to be a wife, because that wasn't her lifestyle, or wasn't her economic lifestyle back in, like, Europe or East or Asia or anywhere right there. But you understand, like, in the West, these girls have been working. So a man and a woman living in America, we both have to work. We both have to go to school. So I essentially kind of have the same like lifestyle as you, as far as like having to work, maybe not as grunt work hard, but nonetheless I'm still in the work environment. So with that comes a lot of stress, a lot of polarizing views, and things that would make you feel like, I am independent. I have to be independent, not just financially, but even probably the way they were raised, because there are a lot more broken homes in America than there is back in my country, for example. You're not allowed to divorce back in my country. But here, the chances of that girl that you're probably going to date, she's already coming from a single parent household, and she's probably been working at, Wendy's or Winn-Dixie or whatever it is. So it's not like she doesn't relate to having to be independent because she can't just be damsel in distress in the castle waiting for Mr. Prince to come save her. So it's almost unfair that women in the West constantly get demonized for being independent. But the reality is it's because men and women don't know how to communicate with each other, to submit to each other, and spar like the dating world with each other instead of demonizing that, oh, she's too masculine. Well, it's because you're too feminine. There's definitely both varies of it, because I deal with men on the internet where they want submissive women all day long. And I'm like, buddy, you're in the comment section screaming more than a woman does. You know what I mean? If we're talking about who's a woman here, I would say like I'm dealing with more women online that are quote unquote claim themselves to be men. So I'm like, who's raising you to run your mouth like a woman? So then I start putting myself in other women's positions saying, you know, if I was a woman in the dating world and this is what I had to deal with, I would be masculine also. I would have to fucking survive and take care of myself, because I wouldn't want to submit to someone with a personality, and no disrespect to anyone, but like Steven Crowder. If I had to submit to a man who ran his mouth that way, I'm sorry. I would rather have my own car, my own money, because it's not worth being submissive to someone like that. You can do everything right, but those are some deep-rooted trauma issues that you are not licensed and certified to deal with someone like that.
Hey, so that's a great teaser, Julius. We're going to be getting into that segment on Crowder
We
in just a minute here. We're going to get everybody's full take on the situation.
Yeah, we will talk about the Steven Crowder thing, because I watched everything about that. I watched the video countless times. I watched it over and over. To me, I don't know. We'll
Let's wait
touch
till
on
we
that.
get into it, unless you want to do it now.
No. Well,
I sense you about to unload.
yeah. So my second thing to that, what I was gonna say was what you guys talking about, basically the economy, how it's a lot harder now. You gotta have two incomes. You know, before it wasn't like that. Now it is. Do you guys think that it's really the economy, or is it the lack of men with ambition?
I honestly, if I had to say what I think influences it the most, I honestly think it's actually culture. I think that over time we've been conditioned to feminize men and masculinize women. Um, my parents are immigrants. A lot of us that migrated here had immigrant values, right? We had those values. And I think the whole culture of the West has kind of been like a social contagion, where we've taken this like really empathetic approach to wanting to understand the opposite side, that we actually never found a healthy balance in getting to know each other. So we're trying to make men be a lot more, in tune emotionally, but we're really like doing it in a counterproductive way, which is feminizing men, right? And then we also push women to go work, go be independent, go be like this, which is masculinizing women. We kind of lost that balance of a healthy feminine and a healthy masculine, and I think it's because of the rate of broken homes, you know within our culture. People just aren't willing to fight for their relationships, get to know themselves better. And I don't know if that's because of like the climate of what our parents grew up in. Like, I know that our parents struggled a lot financially, so they focused on financial gain. They focused on, getting ahead and getting ahead financially, where they kind of lacked on the emotional front within themselves. And so they couldn't model, like, our mothers took a lot of shit. Our grandmothers took a lot of shit. Men also used to be a lot more hardened. Over time, we haven't been able to balance, like, okay, a woman can have a voice, right, in a healthy manner, and a man can listen to his woman, and he's equally submitting to her the way she's submitting to him, and also have a healthy balance of men who are in tune with their emotions, but also very masculine men. And somehow we've lost being able to cultivate that within a marriage, within a relationship, to model that to the next generations. And I feel like we're living kind of the repercussions of that lack of intelligence, mixed with the social contagion of completely deconstructing both sides. You know what I mean? I see it on both ends. Like what Angela was saying, like some of the people that talk shit to me the most are men that I'm just like, bro, my dad would never do some shit like this.
So do you think that, because Nick and I were talking about this on Instagram Live earlier, we talked about how times were different before, but if you notice, folks back in the day, maybe 60s, the civil rights and things like that, it got a lot more democratic. Do you think that those boomers voted for certain things is the reason why men have changed today and women have changed today based on what was voted on back in the 60s?
So I think that, okay, so the analogy that I could give you, right? there's studies that show that when children grow up in a toxic household, they tend to lean on each other. I think that same concept goes to like back in the day. Socially, things were harder for our parents, so they stuck it out and they toughed it out together more because it was easier for both of them to fight against what was going on socially, government, with the government, whatever was going on with the world economically. It was easier for them to fight together, and they kind of linked up over that union, so they each took a little bit more shit. As times have gotten easier for people, what's that saying? Hard times
Good
create
times,
strong
yeah.
men.
Yeah.
Easy times create weak men, and then the cycle goes on. Things have gotten easier and more convenient as like the advancement of technology, the access to information, social media, things like that. And I think that without having that adversity and having so much more options, it's easier to like look externally and be like, well, if this isn't working out, I don't got to fight for it. I can go look for it somewhere else. That very much that grass is greener on the other side mentality. So we have less and less people willing to do the work the way our parents used to for a marriage and for a relationship.
Well, things have gotten more comfortable for sure, but to Angela's point, I would say it's actually gotten harder financially. Like statistically, I think only like 10% or so of men could actually afford to be like, the sole provider. So like 90% of men that you're going to get with, you're going to have to pitch in somehow financially in some way, shape, or form. So it's just it's harder in that regard. And I bring that up to ask, and I'll go to Angela first. Why does it seem like we're not rallying together now, like when it was hard times before in the past, when you were saying, Amy, how man and woman toughed it out, they teamed up? Why does it seem like we're more divided than ever rather than like united and rallying?
I would say like the accessibility of social media is really the core, in my opinion, of why this is where it's at. I would say that we enjoy the privileges, but we forget the consequences that come with it. So everyone complains about how shitty the world is at this point in there, but like if it wasn't for, you know, the evolution of social media and phones, like it's done more positive in my life because I work on here, so it hasn't hurt me the way it's hurt other people. And I think that people have abused what social media is made for, and like phones and technology, and instead of understanding the value that it could bring to your life if you're using it correctly, they demonize it because they don't understand why they're using it. So it's just one of those things where you have that swipe left, right left mentality with life, because you can do that on social media. We've taken that and we've done that with everything else. Oh, this guy's pissing me off, swipe. This girl's annoying, next. This food sucks, write review. Things like that didn't used to happen back in the day. So it's like, instead of actually reflecting and dealing with like real problems, you're finding every reason to just walk out of the situation and not reflect on where you contributed to that problem. And I've
Damn,
definitely
that was an
seen
insightful answer. I just asked that off the top of my head. I'm glad I did. Amy, you got any thoughts?
I definitely notice like consistently it's where it's because I don't like I do work on social media, but at the same time I work in real life with people and hands-on in customer service and beauty industry. So you could definitely see the contrast to people who aren't really on social media like that, and people that are on social media. It's major different. People that are on social media are way more combative, and at the same time they're just like they think they have this idea they have a lot of options, men and women, because you're exposed to people that you may be close to. You may have a chance to be friends with that influencer chick. This chick may reply to you because she, you subscribe to her or something. So the idea that the girl right in front of you that you may having a fickle with is annoying, that you don't have to learn her language, you don't want to, break down each other's barriers. You don't want to do that because this chick is a lot easier and she's flashing her ass online. So why bother getting to know her? Your wife's problem, your girlfriend's little like annoying period syndrome. Like, we don't really care for those things, and that's really what it is. Like, we have too many choices and not enough perspective with the world.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Amy, you got any thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I agree with what she said. It's accessibility.
Julius. No, go ahead, Amy.
Yeah. So,
No, I was done.
Julius,
oh,
what
no,
are your thoughts, bro?
no, I'm just gonna say that it is ruining everything. Just put it simply, it's ruining everything. I think with social media, it really the big problem. Matter of fact, what's interesting is that Instagram was never how it was today, how it used to be. I used to work at Six Flags a long time ago, and I used to listen to talk radio. I was done listening to all the junk out there with music, the drugs, this and that. And so I was listening to talk radio when I was in Vallejo, and they did an interview with the guy who actually made Instagram. He said he made an Instagram because he wanted people to tell a story through pictures. And that's kind of how it started off. You know, people would go on vacations, take pictures of like the forest or like camping, whatever the case may be, touring places like New York. Once Facebook bought Instagram, it just got ratchet. Like immediately, you started seeing more twerking, more fighting, more arguing, more men trying to flex. Every female was a model. She was an Instagram model. The
Well, now
DMs
it's telling a
became
false story. It's telling a false
yeah,
reality, more or less. People are putting on like their best face, but that's not their reality. You know, everybody's putting out their best image. They're putting a filter on it or whatever, and everybody else who's watching it from the sidelines thinking, "Oh man, their life is that cool or whatever, and mine's drab." No, no, it's a false perception that you're getting.
yeah. We went from getting phone numbers to now getting Instagrams. Oh, what's your Snapchat? What's your
Yeah.
Instagram? It's like, wait,
Mhm.
what? Now everybody DMs is full. It's getting weird. Now Instagram has become the new Tinder, which is
Yeah.
like super weird to me. We're having a meeting in person and organically like, oh, hi, I'm Julius. Now it's
Yeah.
like, what's your Snap?
And
That's gone. You can't even see a woman if you're single in public without a freaking mask on for the past 2 years.
Yeah, I
yeah.
know, right?
It's crazy because like I do deal with a lot of people, and I'd have to say like whenever we do these type of videos and the clips are cut and they only see the nuanced like version of myself, and they're quick to say like, the world is simple, just communicate with each other. And I'm like, you guys don't know how to communicate with each other, because if I call you, you send me straight to voicemail, and you rather send me a text because you have anxiety, because you don't want to face your problems, you don't want to face what question I may have you. You try to tell them like, hey, why are you going after her Snapchat? That's so childish. Well, that's the way the world is nowadays. That's how we interact. No, because you're a pansy. Please be a man. Take care of your physicality. Take care of your mental. Take care of your emotion, like intelligence, so that when you walk up to a girl, if you decide you want to, she'll be like, oh damn, let me have my ducks in a row. Like back in the days, it was like that. We were excited to interact with each other in person. But nowadays, it's because we hide behind social media. We hide behind our pictures. And that's why I don't generally I don't like to post my personal life on social media, because I don't want the fact that people can tell too much from how your Instagram looks. Like to me, it's like they could assume anything, and then they could demonize it at the same time. And to me, it's like I would rather have that slight mystery. And what are we on social media? To work. In my opinion, social media is to work, to make money. Because if you're posting your entire life for free, that is just stupid. Because if I was a guy or a girl getting to know you and I see your entire life, it could be completely wrong. And I've already made up my mind that I'm not interested in the way that you show yourself, how you show this and how you flex on that. And you just take away all the opportunities of mysterious and people wanting to know you and peel your layers of yourself. And I think that's again what's wrong with the world. And people not understanding, like, save some mystery for your future self and for your future husband or your future wife. Because what's the point of showing everything for free? That doesn't make any
Literally, they're
sense.
not even showing their entire lives. They're showing their entire buttholes and stuff. You know what I mean? There's no mystery anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, nowadays.
And also,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
go ahead. No, I was
No,
just
no,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
that people are creating caricatures of who they are. And I think this is really like big for me on my platform, that I encourage people to heal. And I think because I've been caught already, obviously, wife, I've got mine locked in, that for me, I don't mind oversharing and sharing the gems that I've learned and the wisdom that I've learned throughout my life, in hopes that it plants the seeds in people to get to know themselves better, rather than staying in this false reality of who they portrayed themselves to be on social media. Because I feel like social media has become like an escape for a lot of people, which is why there's so many people that just post and create a caricature of themselves. Like they can literally live a whole fake ass life based off of what they post on social media. They can create this false reality of who they are, the kind of life they live, the content of their character. And for me, encouraging people to go within themselves, to get to know themselves, is in hopes that people start stepping into their authentic self, to bring that into the world and to share that authentic self with others. And I kind of feel like the climate of social media right now, people are like craving people who are raw and real, and like who I am right here that you see is also who I am off of social media. And I think people are getting sick and tired of the facade that gets painted really pretty by these influencers and by these chicks that like glamorize hoe life and everything else. It's not fulfilling. People are realizing it's really not fulfilling, especially the older they get and they see how fast time is flying.
So to clarify, man, Amy's DMs are not open. They're
Oh
they're
yeah, no, don't
closed.
slide. I will block anybody. I really don't care. For real. Don't.
Don't be asking. on a little date, all right?
Yeah, none of that. Your husband's a lucky man either. I'll block you. I will.
Amy, what were you saying
So,
before? Don't think I don't have security.
yeah, there we go.
Callie's strict with gun, but I ain't strict with my gun. No. So okay. So now we're gonna move on to the next topic. Good stuff, by the way. I want to move on to the next topic, to the red pill community, and I want to start with Angela. I know the red pill kind of been, very overly used, as it seems like today. A lot of men are kind of just taking talking points. I've been told I've been taking talking points from red pill community.
Well, real quick, Julius, maybe we could, for the audience who might not be aware, let's sum up what is red pill, because it's used in a lot of different contexts and whatnot. What are we talking about when we say that?
Red pill, what you use for headaches? No. No. So yeah, red pill basically essentially comes from the Matrix, where you had the blue pill and the red pill. The blue pill kind of like more of the life you're living, where it's like a non-playable character. You just go along to get along, follow the rules, don't question anything, consume product, and then be excited about next product. It's just what it is. Red pill kind of like the eye opener of like the truth. Like you kind of peel back what's really going on, and now once you see the truth, you can never look back at the lie. So there's also things like black pill, where you kind of it's the truth, but you're not biased towards something. You kind of like indifferent towards it. White pill is like more optimistic. You know what I mean? Purple pill is like in between. Like you see both sides. One day you're on the red pill, one day you're on the blue pill. So a lot of pills.
The red pill on the one side and the blue pill. The red pill is the hard, honest truth, no matter what. The blue pill is kind of like the comfortable illusion fantasy, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Okay.
yeah. So my question to Angela is, when it comes to red pill, like what red pills you to the woman you are today? If the red pill was even a thing for you.
I mean, I used to identify with the values that they represent for Red Pill on social media, but I've stepped away from that because I just think it's turned into a very culty, I don't know, weird thing. It's a woman hate club. And I think of it as almost like religion, where like you could mean well with the religion, but the people who follow it may not practice it right. And it just kind of ruins the entire idea of it. And I do like the reality factor of it, but I think that it turns into your truth, your version of whatever your world is. So it is the reality in your world, but it may not be the realistic reality. So, and I say that from my own experience with the red pill people, just because I do align with the cores as far as like, self improvement and seeing the reality of how people actually are and not being, in la la land. I totally resonate with that. But to a certain degree, you have to take accountability for the type of people that you attract into your life, and you're constantly living in those truths. That's your truth. So I live in Miami, and the people that I worked with here, have talked about the type of women that those rules apply to. And my answer to all of it was like, if you continuously attract gold diggers, maybe gold is all you have to offer. And if you don't want to hear that, then maybe you should add some more things to your life, like common sense, some compassion, empathy, and attract different type of women as opposed to gold diggers. So I think to answer your question, what led me to it is just I'm just a person that I was raised with the idea that I don't have the luxury to be in La La Land. I don't have like parents. So the people that raised me were just like, listen, we want to give you the experience that, Maria and Samantha has, but like you don't have the same luxury as them. So you got to live in the world of reality, which is like my childhood is stripped from me to not think that I have the same privileges as a girl growing up with a loving mom and dad. So I think like that's definitely taught me to be more logical, but at the same time, the red pill is very quote unquote logical, but you forget to have empathy and compassion, which is where you have to coexist with women. Because if you don't have that, you just have a bunch of servants and bots living with you and serving you because of the lifestyle you provide for them. And if that's your metric for life, then do you. But I believe in having a happy complementary relationship. So you need both.
Yeah. I do think that with the red pill, I don't mind the logic behind it either. I don't. I just think that to me, a lot of men are taking that and just repeating it without actually living a life themselves. So they'll tell you one thing, but they're not really living what they're preaching. And I think that's a big problem because they'll say, do this, don't do that. But then they're not really living that life themselves. They're just at home yelling on social media about what they think. Again, that your truth comes out and nobody's really living the truth. So to me, that's why when I got red pilled, it was more about who I was dating and how she was treating me. I got eye opened into that. I started watching like videos about female nature, if you will, led me to conservatism. And I was like, man, maybe I am conservative. Maybe I am pro life. Maybe I am pro constitution. Maybe I am pro like it's just all these things. So to me, it was about the truth and not so much about just railing on women. You know, I've had my take when it comes to women because I understand the differences between both based on my experiences, based on friends' experience. How many friends have we had that we said, leave her or leave him? I know, but. And then you just watch him in this toxic relationship, and you're like, "Why are you still with her?" And you see how she's treating him, or he's treating her. You know what I mean? So it's like that's where you kind of see the red pill, if you will, because you see it. But it's been what do you call it? I don't want to say perverse, but it's definitely been what's the word I'm trying to find? For lack of a better word, I'll say perverse. It has been more perverse, I guess, or subverted, I guess, if you will. So yeah, I understand what you mean on that. To me, I think it is about the truth and not just your truth because definitions are getting changed now. Like, what does it mean to be traditional? Oh, like it's just submissive but without this, or it's just this without that. So it's always changing, goalposts being moved. So it's hard to get behind the red pill when it's constantly changing every single day. It's almost like a transgender. It just changes by the day what they identify with. Um, so sorry, I'm running a little rant there. I'm all telling personal stories, and then she dumped me. No,
He worked in a transgender reference too. Amazing.
they try to reel me in. No, so Amy, to you as well. What's something that red pills you to the women you are today? Was that even your thing, or how did that come about? How did you see that light?
Yeah, so I did not know that it is it has turned into something completely other. Like what Angela was talking about, I did not know that red pill got like that. Maybe because I don't keep up with it like that. But if we're talking politically, what got me to open up to like the lies of what I was living, in a more like lefty ideology, I guess you could say, is that I was personally healing in my own life. I just reached a point in my life where I was like, okay, I'm tired of my own shit. It's about time that I make a change in my life. And so I started, turning inward a lot with myself, being accountable for all the ways in which I was messing up my own life. And I came across a Candace Owens video that was so inspirational. And it wasn't even nothing politically that she said. It was just talking about self accountability. And I resonated so much with it because that's exactly where I was at in my own healing journey. And so I had posted a clip of her, and I had so many people pissed the fuck off because I posted a clip of Candace Owens. So then that intrigued me. I was like, well, who the heck is Candace Owens and why does everyone not like her? So then I started learning about politics and just like I never really paid attention to like the labels of like being liberal and being conservative. And it's kind of crazy because I feel like I would consider myself a little bit more like centrist. I have very conservative values in terms of myself morally as a woman. I hold a lot more conservative values in that aspect, but I also am very like live and let live so long as you're not stepping on my toes type of shit. Does that make sense? So
Mm.
I just started reading a lot more. Like I read a lot of Thomas Sowell. Well, one book of Thomas Sowell. I read Candace Owens. I started looking up Larry Elder, and I realized that the tactics that I've used to survive my own life, because I've always been the kind of person that I am my like I can rely on myself. I'm the oldest. I never had anyone else to model to me, look up, anyone I could look up to. It was very much I'm learning through trial and error how to survive life. I realized that I've always held these values that have always been based in kind of logic, but I've always been a very emotional person and I've always had a healthy balance, I feel like, of both. And I feel like that's why I don't really like I guess I understand like most sides, but there is some radical things on each side that I'm just like I don't mess with. Like I'm just like nah, I don't align with that. But I think in today's day and age, my whole mindset, I definitely would be considered like a far right extremist red pill taker.
Base.
You
Hello,
fit in over here. Yeah, thanks.
hello, base department. Uh, Nick, I want to get your take as well, but I wanted to kind of say, with the red pill, Angela, you said earlier about men having to like work with women essentially when it comes to these spaces. I've noticed that a lot of men are starting to call out women in these red pill spaces, like the Just Pearly things. I think even Melanie King is one of them. They're saying that women like them have now kind of taken over these spaces where men are listening to them, and what they're preaching and what they're living is two different things. So you have like Mel, and I'm not getting on Pearl and Melanie. If you guys, if they're watching this, shout out to you guys. God bless you guys. But I'm just saying this is what men are saying and kind of trying to understand this balance, if you will. So with somebody like Pearly Things, you had It's Complicated Channel come out and say she was plagiarizing the questions that he said to people on her show without giving him any credit. They're saying that Melanie King is like not who she is because she was just on MTR mediocre
Oof.
tutorial reviews.
Yeah.
I saw that did not make her look good. That's
Mm-mm.
like the female version of Steven Crowder. That footage just did not make her look good. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
Melanie King is basically, if you guys don't know Nick and Amy, she's a woman who kind of stepped into the red pill space, kind of saying the talking points of like female nature and what men shouldn't do, how to get girl, things like that. And there's this guy named Mediocre Tutorial Reviews who in the red pill space as well. She was on his show not too long ago. She got a little tipsy, started showing her true colors. She was like really showing her true colors, trying to get him to kiss her. I
Oh,
mean,
amazing.
I was like, yo, she's not who
Wi-
he said she is.
No, PR person
Women
needs to
like
rein
that
that
are
in. Doesn't bring it
making
on air anymore.
Yeah,
women like that are making us look so bad, and honestly that's why I stepped down from that scene, because I think in the height of me blowing up on like TikTok and stuff like that in the quote unquote red pills community, I didn't align with the values, because it was just like, oh, polygamy and you must share your man. I was like, wait, I do agree that there are hoes out here. I do agree.
said,
I
hold
do.
on, wait a minute, something's ain't right.
Yeah, I was like, I do agree that those chicks are crazy and the word high value and all that crap. I get it for that lifestyle, but that doesn't align with me. So essentially, when people were calling me the pick me girl, in the beginning, I was told like, this is social media, you're gonna be hated. I'm like, but like this much, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't. I wake up with anxiety and like I'm a tough skin mofo. Like to me, it's like I don't really get triggered by people like that. But the fact that I would wake up and like have an eye, like, what if I get doxxed today, or what if I get canceled? And you start wondering, like, look at the way Tate, Pearl, Sneeko, all of them have been somewhat canceled. And you start to wonder, like, you may be saying the right things, but the way that you're saying it is going to get you canceled. So obviously, you have to learn to tend to the masses instead of striving against it so heavily, because you can't fight the matrix. Like, get over that shit. You can say what you want to say, but you have to learn how to talk to people. Because now I'm able to talk to people that I don't agree with, and they can empathize for what my views are, because I'm able to use their argument against them, as opposed to just saying what I feel is correct and then demonizing them for their steps in life. And that's one thing that I think the red pill space lacks, is you could be totally right, but again, what they preach about, like Pearl and Melanie, works only for hoes. But like, you're saying it in a matter where like you almost have to follow those rules, and they don't, because like Melanie getting hella sloppy on that, I was like, girl, I
No,
my
well, she
my
was wild, bro.
she was sloppy. She had the fuck me eyes. She had the
Oh,
slur. It was
Julius, can we
disgusting.
pull it up? Is it available? How
Yeah,
else is it available?
Yeah, 'cause
yeah,
let me
dude.
see. I have no clue what you guys,
You
who
guys,
or what the heck you guys are
Me
Mel
talking
was
either.
about.
like the female
Me either,
Kevin
Amy.
Samuels. Like she was like right under him. Is like he like mentored her almost. So it was like she had a lot of valid points, and like when she dresses conservative, like it fits for what she's saying, because you're above what you're speaking about. But when you show stuff like that, like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't nightlife, and I live in the most godless city ever, and I live up to that, because when I do anything, it will trickle after me. If I leave any remnants behind, that I am going against what I'm talking about. And I swear by that, because I know like it's very like, this is social media, this is the world. And at any point I flop, that's it. Everything I say loses credibility. And like women like Pearl and Mel, no hate to them, but I'm just kind of like Pearl. I don't like her talking points, because it's just like, Pearl, you're preaching something of a lifestyle that doesn't even align to you, because she says that celebrities and stuff, aren't the world isn't realistic. I made a clip about that. But she constantly brings them up as talking points to compare to average dating people. And I'm like, well, Drake will sleep with. Well, you think women will turn down Drake? Girl, how many people do you know have access to Drake? Because I don't know a lot of people that have access to Drake. So we constantly bring this up, and it just doesn't. It fits for her talking narrative, but it's not realistic. And looking at Pearl, Pearl is not a 10 to say these things, because Pearl, you're not sharing a man. Like the type of knowledge that she knows, she's not going to want to share a man. And if you do, that says the value of what you are in life, because those type of girls who share men wait at the finish line because they're gold diggers. So Pearl, are you saying that you're a gold digger? Are you saying that you only want men that are finished with their careers? Are you submitting to the idea? So who are you essentially speaking to? So that's why I don't agree with Pearl and what she says. And I think they call her a grifter. And I kind of agree with it. And I mean, I'm okay with saying that because I don't think I'm wrong on it, to be really honest.
Does she even have a man? I'm not trying to hate on Pearl, by the way, but it seems like she's kind of.
The thing with Pearl is she's not going to find a man. Like, I will say that full confidence. And the reason why I say that, as someone who was speaking for the men, like my analytics is 89% of men on TikTok and YouTube. And the minute I started saying, like, listen, in order for you to get a submissive woman, you need to do this, this, and this. Oh, I got staked heavily. So it goes to say you only agree with what I have to say when it benefits you, but when it involves you in evolving and being better, you're not going to listen to a woman, which is understandable. I don't teach men on how to be men. I teach men how to talk to women, how to engage with them emotionally. Pearl is telling men what they deserve, and she doesn't realize the minute she changes her tune of accountability on both ends, they will stake her. And the type of men that praises Pearl are the type of men who are shitty human beings who want to have those reasons, like, yeah, she should do this and women should do that. But like, Pearl is never going to be able to get a man to respect her because she's enabling these poor actions of these guys who are playing the victim card of their own actions are just as shitty as the women that they date.
So that's the whole point I wanted to bring up with the red pill take. I think the red pill being about truth, it stems from accountability, self-accountability, and everybody else having accountability. And it seems to me the trend with a lot of these losers in the red pill movement is they love talking shit on women and whatnot and holding them accountable for all their shortcomings, but they never point the mirror back at themselves ever. It's like, bro, what are you doing that like even merits a woman wanting to kiss you, let alone submit to you and follow? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. They want to have their cake and eat it too.
So, not to rain on the parade, something's wrong with my connection because like we're fine now. Matter of fact, let me check the phone quick. I want to make sure everything's all good. I'm gonna check my phone and watch on the other end to see how it looks because I noticed that when I was writing in the comments, it keeps on saying having trouble connecting. Please check your internet connection. And my Wi-Fi is connected, so I don't know what's going on. So I apologize
What are you talking about, bro? Which comments are you seeing?
Huh?
You said somebody in the comments said it?
No. The ones that I was trying to send. I was trying to send a comment saying like hit the like button, saying what's up.
Okay.
And
on my end, it looks all good, bro. Just so you know, it's
I know
streaming is fine. The chat's all good. Maybe it's just your connection, like you said.
I know that's what I'm saying. It's super weird.
Don't overwhelm it. Don't keep adding on to it. You'll blow down the whole show.
I know. Yeah, it looks good. Everything's good. Everybody's all
look, he's glitching out right now. He's adding on to it.
Everybody's all HD looking. So I'm trying to like upload the video, but when I try to upload it, it's like it's not connected for some reason. I don't want to like jeopardize this because if I turn off the Wi-Fi, try to come back on, it's gonna screw up the whole entire thing.
No, we don't need to do that. Maybe later if it gets stronger signal again, but we're good for now.
I know, dude. I almost want to take my computer and like this with the signal. Let's see where it's
one of these days we'll have some income from this show, Julius, and we'll actually have a budget and we'll have equipment.
I know. I hope we can all actually be in the studio and actually react to big giant screen, react to videos.
Hey, this is a super dope panel, by the way. I feel like this is the kind of discussion that the red pill community and everywhere else, frankly, utterly lacks. Like a nuanced, detailed discussion that isn't just black and white. It's realistic of what's going on now. I love this panel. This is great.
Yeah, it's really easy, I think, for a lot of people. I think in the nation to get used, get sucked into the money that they're making, get sucked into what gets them their analytics. It's really hard to be someone who's like, for me personally, this is a passion. You know, I don't make any income. Well, I make a little bit of income off of it, but not something that's significant that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is gonna be my job. You know what I mean? So for me, it's easy to stay humble and to just be like, oh, well, this is me and these are the conversations I have, and I'm not focused on the views or who's watching or how many, or you know what I mean. But I do see that a lot of people get sucked into that once they see that the views are up or they're saying something um you know controversial enough that gets them those views, those likes, those comments. It's a dopamine hit. And I see people like, Pearl. I watched her a lot, and it's like the same rhetoric over and over and over. It's not necessarily a constructive conversation with people that are wanting to learn or learn the other side, and I feel like for me personally, I like for someone to challenge my thoughts and why I think the way that I think, and I think it keeps us on our toes, but I'm not
Yeah,
seeing that much with other people. And I think it's
which
based on probably the money they're making or the views that
It
they're
is.
getting.
It's all of that. Like I will definitely confirm. Like that's why like I fell off the map for like 6 months because I needed time to like refine the way that I want to talk about these things because I wanted to find that. And like in the height of my views, I was getting paid well. Um and my views were crazy back on TikTok when I was like super controversial. And that is that dopamine that says, oh shit, I'm doing something right because you're getting that confirmation that you're saying something right. But you're really just creating an echo chamber of people who like to hear
Mhm.
those things. And the minute you challenge their views, they stay. Somebody was like, oh, you're a grifter. You used to talk about shit that I like. Oh, yeah, things that enable your poor actions. Just say that, buddy. That's all you had to say. And the thing with
Yeah.
Pearl is like, she panders to men who need excuses for their poor actions in life. That's really what it is. There is a slight percentage of men that deal with the top 10% of men who deal with hoes. They need some sort of solution towards their lifestyle and the type of women and how to interact with them and be realistic about your values. Sure. But what about the majority of people who are like, yo, I just want a girl to love me. Like I just want a girl who just like loves me the way I love her.
For my
She
fifty
doesn't talk.
thousand dollars a year
Yeah.
that I'm gonna make no more than that. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and
So
that's
it's
why it's really important on my platform that like when I talk about my views on in like relationships or like marriages, that I'm also reiterating to women that it's like you need to submit to a man worthy of your submission. Because that's kind of like my way of like, men, don't expect that because I do tend to get on women more, that doesn't mean that you can be excused from not stepping into what you should be as a man as well. That's why, like, for me personally, you guys know I'm spiritual. So for me, a righteous man is a man who is deserving of submission and deserving of me wanting to, refine who I am as a woman and constantly challenge myself and grow. So, you know, I hope that wouldn't make people call me a grifter the day that I get on men. But we'll see.
if it does, fuck them.
I'm telling you right now that that's how they are, and it's brutal, and that's why like I'm trying to be more balanced with my views, and that's why I'm like the slowest grower on like Instagram because out of all my friends have 50, 100,000 and all that crap, and it's nice. I'm happy for them, but like for me, it's just like I refuse to like dive into that space where it's just a bunch of men praising me and my own kind hating me. And what I've definitely noticed is like women that are quote unquote masculine, and I have like real life interaction. Like these girls that are usually assholes or like gold diggers, they're actually more submitting to the idea of what I have to say when I validate their experience as a woman as to why they do it. Once you validate someone's experience of why they do what they do, now they're more willing to listen to what you have to say as far as like constructive criticism because they're like, oh
Yeah.
wow, thank you for understanding why I do what I do before you demonize why I did it. And that's changed
Yeah.
drastically a lot.
Yeah, and for
Do
me,
you
my testimony helps me connect with women like that. Like I have a lot of women who will join my mentorship program that were once really masculine women that want to get in tune with their femininity. And I feel like when people sense that you're relatable and and that's why I overshare my lived experience so that people know like I'm not just talking out of my ass just to talk out of my ass. Like I really used to take this same approach, this same mentality, and I can now model for them how I've transformed my life through some realizations, through some, discipline in my own elevating the standards of what I want to be as a woman, that it's helped a lot of women balance that masculinity and femininity within themselves and actually like honor the essence of their femininity, which has been really cool. And I feel like I don't see other channels or like other people really doing that. It's a lot of just like, attacking, for the views and pandering to men or pandering to women, you know what I mean? Because I see men do it too. Like a lot of soy boys will just pander to women without holding women accountable. And I'm just like, nah, we got to be able to like be honest about our flaws on both sides.
speaking of which, Steve Harvey? Anyone?
We'll jump to that. I was going to add about the soy boy stuff because somebody mentioned this on the podcast before that those guys who are like, I'm pro-choice and women's rights and they're just awesome. You kind of like, bro, we know what you're doing. Quite frankly, I think a nice guy is more dangerous than a guy that's actually respectable because like those we call it bad boys. I think a nice guy is actually worse than a bad boy. A bad boy can be toxic, they for what they say, right? But I think a nice guy is actually worse because it's like he's put on a front in order to get into your back. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like
and pick
I
up
At
on
least
think
you know
that.
what the bad boy, like what it's about. Like he'll tell you what it is up front. You take it or leave it. But the nice guy's putting on an act to try to get to you. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like who really is the bad boy? The nice guy or the bad boy? You get what I'm saying?
Ooh.
So so real quick, I
Versus
saw that it's working now because I typed in the comments and it worked. I'm like, oh cool, it's working. So okay, with Melanie King, let me just oh, okay. So my Mac would just say I can make phone calls now. So, I'm like squirrel. So Melanie King, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show. I want to kind of touch on that real quick, just kind of wrap that up. But I want to show her content and what she kind of talks about, and then show you the contrast with mediocre tutorial reviews because it's
So we're trying to
really
get banged by that dude on the show.
dude. I watched it right the whole time. I'm like, this chick is a modern woman. The entire time I'm watching him, like she's trying to flirt with him. He's like trying to be about his business.
Look at
Now,
Angela.
mind you, all the men are like, well, what happens off camera, that's his business, right? But it's still to me, I don't know, man. If he would have smashed out even off camera, it still kind of makes him a little bit of a hypocrite, maybe. But to see him trying to conduct his business to make the show professional, that's one thing. She's like trying real hard to like bring him out of that. And I'm like, you look like all the chicks that you preach about. It's weird. So let me show you like some of
Her PR guy was having a nightmare for that show. I'll tell you that much. They've had some serious sit downs since then. Angela,
Yeah.
what are you thinking? Why I saw you cover your mouth in disbelief.
It's just embarrassing because like I believe in like just sticking to your word. Like I'm a woman of my word, or as they say, man of his word. But like I just think that you should stick to it. And like when I saw that, I was like, damn, Mel, you fucked up bad, woman. And like seeing her in her turtleneck now, I'm sorry, girl, you might as well just wear your little thought outfits because like now I really see you for what you really are. Because it's like there's a time and a place to be like that, and that should be for the person that you love, and it should be with your partner. And that's like there's parts in me that I'm very intimate and I keep very private in my life. Like when I go to events, I always tell people like, listen, I'm a very socially awkward person in real life because it's like you see these clips of me and you think I'm like a debater and you think I'm like combative, but then that really goes against what me saying, like, you know, teaching women to be submissive and be feminine. So like in real life, I more so just absorb people's energy and just like watch how they move and watch how they talk. And that's how you really should be as a woman in a space surrounded by people, as opposed to showing them that you can be fun, you can be sexy. For what? Are you about to sleep with all of them? Are you about to take all of them home?
Oh
You know?
Oh no.
So yeah,
Oh no.
it's sad. It's sad that she did that, and I think like that. Those are the type of women that represent, you know, the red pill stuff, and that's why like I don't want any part of it. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's pretty
All
bad.
right, I'm gonna pull up a
Well, I have
video.
no
So
idea what this is.
I
So
can't
thi-
wait to see her become a hoe in front of our eyes, though. I can't wait to watch this clip.
So she did do a react. We won't watch the whole thing, but she did do a reaction about the kiss thing, and she might have her own version of the story. But let me just kind of pull up this because I think this might go ties in. I'm trying to find something that matches what she did at the opposite. So she has a video right here where it says the lie that destroy Western women. Maybe we kind of watch that, see her take on that, and then look at exactly what she did in the opposite. So. I'll just play like a small little clip from this, kind of just get her take, and then we'll watch the opposite. Now, Amy can now see what kind of person that she is. And excuse the ad. Sorry, that's a crazy ad. Sorry about that.
I missed
These
the
ads are crazy.
Oh, what is that?
I know these ads.
People, this does not
Why do you
represent
find
the
this?
men. We do not believe this.
Dude, I've been getting these ads lately about pooping. It's so weird. I'm like, are they watching me?
You
Like,
can't
these
make that
bathrooms
noise.
or
They put this on our show. What
It's just
the-
like
Come on,
the first thing you see is somebody doing this. You're like, what is this guy watching? I'm like, I
Come on,
swear it's not
YouTube,
me.
man.
Okay, so she's reacting to a video about lies that destroy women and things like that. So we'll kind of just get a little context with this, and then
doctors, lawyers, engineers. We can do all this stuff. We can make all this money. But how liberated
okay,
are we?
so this is in context of a Cosmo writer. This woman right here, she was a Cosmo writer. She was talking about how the feminist movement was changed. It used to be about equality, things like that. It was even pro-life at one point, and then they changed it to the sexual revolution. They kind of combined the two to where they made the feminist movement more of a sexual liberation. So it allowed women to be about more for abortion, more for birth control, more for Plan B, things like that. So this Cosmo writer was kind of telling the difference between the two. So that's what Melanie is reacting to.
Wait,
So
so
I'm
the
gonna
old
kind of,
lady's the Cosmo writer, and Melanie's the younger lady with the highlights?
yeah. And actually, what I heard about Melanie, this guy did an expose about her, right? He was exposing her. He was basically saying how the way she looks now, she did not look like this before. Like, he had a picture of how she used to look. I guess apparently she had a husband and has some kids, and now they're divorced. So it's interesting to kind of see this divorced woman kind of being on that red pill path, like,
Scandalous.
you know what I mean? That's why I think the red pill space, men have an issue with this, because you get women like Melanie King, who was once married, now divorced, now trying to make it seem like she's on the man's side when she had a man, and now, do you get what
Too
I'm saying?
late. She's out the game, and she's trying to talk like she's still playing quarterback.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of play where she's talking right here, just kind of give you guys her personality.
Where, you know, women are just running around, hot girl summer, riding the CC. I can do what I want, is my body, don't tell me anything. All of these things, they want to be free and liberal and live their best skeet and skirt life. And we're not here to interfere with that. If you want to live that street life, activity life, then you go ahead and do that. But before you say that it's impeding your rights and your independence, and this is what feminism is, that is a lie, sis.
All right, we're gonna pause right there. That's actually great that I ended up right there. Now let's look at the opposite. I don't want to go to her reaction. I want to go to let me see. I'm gonna type in expose MTR, and then we'll look at the exact opposite of what she just said about, you know, liberation and things like that, trying to talk down on females, and now look at her being the very same thing that she's railing against.
And for those of you in the audience, you layman, CC, I believe, means cock carousel. When she said that, if you're having a hard time following, just ridiculous lingo.
I think I'm going to just play it from his YouTube. I won't play the reaction, but I'm going to play it from his YouTube. And hopefully we'll see.
So this is her like making a pass on this thing.
Cheers, man.
Put it live so we can see what it looks like.
Boom. Oh yeah, it's not live right now.
It's not live. Hit the live button.
It's not allowing me to.
You can hear it in the voice already.
We're on the C-cell bullshit.
And you can hear him trying to keep it on the rails professionally.
What it is.
Oh, look at the fuck me eyes. Look at her
Right.
face.
This is perfect.
Would you ever sign an NDA?
Absolutely.
She on.
No, you would.
Dude, she's wasted.
Blood oath. Let's pinky blood oath. No.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Look at the comments, bro.
No.
Somebody said save it for after the camera goes off.
No, I need like something to poke my pinky.
You need like a needle?
Poke my pinky.
You need a needle?
Yeah.
Look at her.
She's on blood oath.
Like that. Like a light skin blood oath.
She would take his pants off and have her with him right now.
Hey.
Oh,
Light skin blood oath. That don't mean nothing, but our blood is made.
She has the F me eyes for
She
sure.
couldn't care less than she's trying to get in front of the world.
No.
Nothing against anybody like that. Guys, don't take that as a thing.
You're
The
racist.
comments are funny, bro. It's like, she crazy.
Oh,
She
now
look
you're
tipsy.
Did y'all see this gas? Did y'all see that just now?
Shout out to the cruise season. Shout out to the cruise season. This is gold. I'm in
Look, he's trying to
tears.
get away from her. She's leaning on.
Shout out, my G. He in tears. Shout out, my G. Appreciate you. Hey, shout out to Be Short. If you going,
All right, we're gonna pause it right here. We kind of,
but I like the sale.
we kind of get the gist of that. We get it.
Yeah. That's enough.
Yeah, man, that is wild. So you can see how she's like, women want to act like they're liberated and they want to be feminist. And the next thing she's like, oh, baby, pinky swear me, baby. Hit that pinky, baby. Whoosh.
He's like, bitch, I'm trying to run my podcast right now. Like, can you get off me?
Yeah. She became the very same thing she's railing against, bro. That's the thing, man. I think the reason why, again, I said that men do have problems with certain women in these spaces. If do you guys know who Black Spider Guy Advice is? I'm sure some of you guys know about him. No, maybe.
Yeah.
So,
Julius, your speaker's on. I think it's giving us some feedback or echo or something. Just so you know.
Oh, hang on. 1 second. Hopefully, it's not. Sorry about that. Let me make sure that.
No, you're all good when you talk. It's just when we talk.
It's only when Nick
Oh, yeah.
talks. Oh, wait,
Story of my life.
All of us.
It's all of us now.
All of us now.
Let me just hold on. Let me try to switch microphones and then.
It's only when Nick talks. Story of my life. I hear that all the time.
Oh, it kind of went off now.
Nice.
Okay, am I good now?
I think so. Testing. Yeah, we're good.
Testes.
Okay, cool. So always a black guy, right? No, I'm playing.
Yeah.
I don't play the race card when I don't have to. No.
When in doubt, blame the black guy.
But but yeah, so it is interesting to me. I do think that there is a grift. I think there is. I think women know how to operate these spaces because a lot of men, Angela, I'm sure you got clients, men who are like, Angela, help me. And don't get me wrong. Look, I'll admit this. I reached out to Amy one time. I had some troubles, but it was only because I was like, Amy, help me see it from a different perspective. I didn't come to her and was like, yo, Amy.
Amazing. Well, she didn't bring out the shotgun. She didn't shoot you down, so she must have said
it was nothing like that. Like, I was like, hey, yo, Amy, this chick tripping. You gotta gain perspective. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it wasn't like I was like, yo, look at me. I love
it was
her.
like, if I'm wrong, like, am I seeing this right? It was
right. You know what I mean?
Was he seeing it right, or was he pretty pathetic? Did he need some serious help?
No, he didn't need serious help.
She's like, no, I promise.
Trying to get some dirt.
No. He just needed a little guidance. It was good.
No, it was cool. I mean, it was cool. I saw her content. I was like, I wonder if she thinks about this a certain way. Now everybody can be like, oh, he's a simp. What a simp. He's simping.
No.
Whatever. It is what it is. So, no, but I make that point again because when you see these situations happen, these women know how to operate these spaces. They know how to operate the red pill space, and they know that men are going to watch them. They know men like to hear the talking points. They love that because it's not even so much about the lack of like fatherhood or motherhood, anything like that. I think it's just the lack of being able to tell the truth. So when they hear the truth from somebody else and they like it, and it's like you're saying everything I think, they gravitate to that and try to use that to their own narrative without being authentic themselves. That's the problem. So when these women come in, again, the whole red pill was about the men and self-improvement, but then it became about women saying that, oh, women are doing this. So now when you see women rail on other women, it makes men go, oh man, she's not like a pick me, but she's like a protector at all costs. I know you see those comments, protector at all costs kind of thing. So it's like, it does get a little bit simpish in that way. And again, for somebody like Pearl, she went from she had like only like so many subscribers, and then she in less than a year over 1 million. Whereas with Fresh and Fit, I know Fresh and Fit, I'm just saying it took him a little while to get to that million. Whereas with Pearl, it's like less than a year.
Well, Pearl had a very, very winning strategy that I learned from Layla Propaganda Fluent, who was on that panel with her. I don't want to necessarily reveal it aloud, but I'll tell you guys all after the air.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, it just I was going to show this comment real quick. So somebody said this comment. They said that Angela's an amazing guest, very knowledgeable. Appreciate
Amy.
You.
What?
I know. I know.
Don't even make it a competition. No.
Let's put a race card.
Here we go.
Michelle,
you know, Mexican girl.
This is a very diverse panel, by the way. I just realized.
I know. You got the black guy, got the Hispanic girl, got the Asian.
And I can't wait till this diverse panel I can't wait to get into like Stephen
Beware.
Crowder. Stephen
Yeah.
Crowder with this
You-
diverse panel is going to be some hot takes. I have a feeling
You
that's when
know,
it's going to get heated and interesting.
the girls in this space, what they don't understand is like, yes, you can thrive if your main agenda is just money. Like thrive on it, but like you do understand like it comes at a price that no one will take you seriously. And I think that's what women don't understand in this space is like Pearl. No one's actually taking Pearl seriously. Women hate her, and then for men, they're actually just listening to the talking points that will enable them to be a certain way. And that's why I continuously preface that I don't teach men on how to be men. I don't think any man will listen to a woman on how to be a man. But what they will ask a woman on is how do I communicate with a woman? Like if you are a man, you have all the metrics of what you need to be a man to attract a woman, and you're just like, I thought I have everything and I can't get through her. Now I need to ask a fish on how a fish thinks. Dude, totally here for that. But if you're trying to figure out like some stupid dickwad was like, oh my God, why would I ask a fish on how to catch a fish? I'm like, well, I'm the fish and will teach you how to make the fishes swim to you. So if you want to be a competitive douchebag and continuously think that way, let me know how many fishes you can catch.
I was
And
going to
it's
say,
not
I
a
bet
lot.
he's not caught any fishes in a long time, if ever, with that
Yeah.
attitude.
And as
He's
a
out there
girl,
right now on the boat like this. He's like, damn it.
exactly. And like
He's
I'm
a
sure with
virgin
Amy,
fisherman.
with Amy also and with me, like I have people that are in my DMs sometimes where like if I was like a regular average girl, it would have been like, oh my God, someone's in my DM. This is so cool. But if you really think about it, if you bite the bait in the bullet and the forbidden apple that they give you, you're screwed because from there on forward, they're not looking to talk to do business with you. They're talking to you to debunk the idea of like, see, these chicks talk about, women shouldn't be this way and women should be loyal and women shouldn't be on social media doing this. And the minute the blue check mark hits your DMs and the way that they choose to persuade you and you bite into that forbidden apple, game over. You've lost your credibility. And Melanie King is a prime example. Pearl is going to be another example. And it's just continuously the cycle of biting the bait.
So get this. That video you saw of Melanie, right? There's actually a video out there of Pearl and her ex-boyfriend.
Julius always got the dirt, man. I tell you what, this guy.
For real.
Listen.
I'm getting
When I
all
be
the
on
scoop.
YouTube, I be on the bro. I was just telling somebody earlier that I only sleep for like 2 or 3 hours a day because I'm
No,
constantly.
he's a grinder. I can attest for you.
I'm researching. I'm learning. Trying to get better at podcasts. Trying to get all the stuff that's going on. I don't get like too deep. Like Nick's the guy with the whole mockingbird. The moon's fake. Like he's that guy. And it's fantastic conversation. I love it. I'm here for it. Show me the UFO. Let's go to Area 51. I'm down for it. Me, I'm more of like, who's cheating on who?
That's why we're such a good duo. But what's this Pearl video about? Is this something I even want to see, or is it something that should be private? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so there's this guy on YouTube, this black dude. He black, and he I guess they call him like the angry face black dude. He always has like a certain look to his face. I guess Pearl used to date him, and
dude, I saw that guy. You would never believe she dates him.
Yeah, he. I mean, it's people say ugly dudes get girls. Yeah, him and Pearl, you would not even think there'd be a match.
Apparently so. Yeah,
I saw that and I was like, wait a minute. Pearl talks about this, that, and the third, but then she did it down.
bro.
It's crazy, man.
He's
So
like
I
a
mean,
cartoon character. When you see that image of him for the first time, and you're like, that was Pearl's boy.
yeah, which is why what Angela was saying about holy crap, I just lost my train of thought. You were saying something about no, about the whole dating thing. Geez, I totally lost my train of thought. But it was about Pearl dating that dude. I totally forgot. It just escaped me. But it was essentially on the lines of, Pearl preaching one thing, but then doing the exact opposite. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I find it funny, because it's like Pearl is saying that women should be submissive, they should be having less body, this and that. But yet she makes a lot of money. She's obviously at like she's making that. She's not in the top %, but she's getting there. So would she really find a man? Like, is she willing to share a man? Do you know what I mean? And I think she was asking that question. I don't think she's willing to do that. I don't think it's, and that kind of question I kind of want to pose to you guys real quick before we go on to the next subject. Do you guys think, because this whole polygamy talk with the red pill, things like that, do you guys think that women really are just more monogamous and men are more polygamous? Or if that's just something that's just said in order for men to kind of have an excuse to mess around with multiple women. No, I'm not trying to rail on the red pill and say men are wrong. I'm just trying to understand is that because men are saying that they want polygamy based on how things have been since the beginning of time. Men have had multiple women. Women are naturally monogamous. And I asked that question because with Pearl, right, preaching the preacher of like polygamy sometimes, all this stuff, but then yet when she was asked about will she share a man, you can tell there's hesitation. So I'm wondering, are women naturally monogamous? And do you guys think that men are polygamous, or that's just something that's just said just because for like shock value?
Angela, I'll let you answer first.
Oh, I think that I think everyone is technically monogamous. I think nobody actually want. I think it's a very lifeless way to live. I think that those guys that are in that space who probably have resentment from building their, their wealth at such a young age and being rejected by women. That's the result of them feeling like I have to sleep with as many women as possible to make up for my youth. But I don't think a guy like I deal with a lot of people here in Miami, for example, and it's almost like the guys who thought they wanted to buy 10 expensive cars, they end up driving one good car out of their 10 that they have in their garage after knowing that they could buy all those cars. So I would say it's equivalent to all those guys who think they want to sleep with multiple women, but after it gets to a point, to a certain point in your life when you are sleeping with multiple people, you do realize like, okay, from what I've been told and what I've gathered, it goes beyond just sex. It's like every vagina feels the same for guys after having multiple experiences and realizing, can I connect with her beyond just her vagina? Because it gets repetitive because you start seeing things that used to facade. You'd be like, oh my gosh, she's so hot. Her boobs, her face, her social media. But once you get beyond, you're like, dude, she's kind of dumb. She's not that intellectual. She can't spar conversations with me.
She's
And it's not,
awful. She's intolerable, insufferable.
yeah. So, initially when these younger guys hear the red pill talking, they actually don't get women. They don't get many attention at all. So to them, it's like, oh, I'll gladly have a threesome. I'll gladly have 10 girls on me. But if anybody knows, like, as far as what multitasking looks like, you can't actually thrive in a multitask place. You can survive, but you can't thrive. Single tasking on one person, one business at a time and fully conquer that. And once you've done that, you realize like, I'm happy with the work and the growth that I'm with this person. So I would generally probably say that if a woman is more monogamous, a guy who hasn't lived thinks he wants that polygamous lifestyle until he has and realizes I'm living in this hamster wheel of like vagina, vagina, vagina. And it's just, I don't think there's an end game to that. I don't think that people realize that there's really nothing to live on. So that's me.
And I think for me, I think my take on it is a little bit more spiritual, in the sense that I feel like men that want to be more polygamous and have multiple partners and think that that's where it's at, I think that stems from a void that they're trying to fill. Just like women who have daddy issues go and try to look for love in all the wrong places. I think that a lot of as men mature, they begin to realize that there needs to be substance in their life in order for them to feel fulfilled, because when they run through all these hoes, they realize that it really doesn't fulfill them. There's really no substance that these women are bringing to their life. And as they age, as they mature with themselves, the more they get to know themselves, maybe the more they face whatever void they're trying to fill through these multiple partners, they realize that monogamy is where it's at. It's better to have one solid female on your side than freaking 10 you got to question, 10 you got to freaking cater to and lie to, sweet nothing to. Bullshitting gets tiring after a while. And I think men realize that the older that they get.
Do you think that I'm not trying to like, cheerlead for the men, like, yeah, get multiple girls. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm just kind of dive deeper. Do you think that the men who get multiple women, when we say things like men who have multiple girls, it can be tiring because they get older and they're not gonna be able to kind of do what they used to do when they were younger. Do you think that the men having multiple girls can only do it if their ambition is still strong, versus the men who do it but have no ambition? That's why they get tired of it, because they're only chasing women, but they're not on their purpose simultaneously. It's like saying a mother can be a mother and have a career kind of thing. So do you think that men can have multiple women even though while still being ambitious with their careers and things like that? Or do you still find that like an upset balance?
I think that's still an upset balance. I think it takes a lot of work to have to entertain a lot of women while striving for a good life, a career, and everything else that a man wants, if he's like career oriented. I don't think
Well,
that's
also, are those women going to be modern women? Because they're going to have to pitch in or something. You can't like financially take care of one woman nowadays, statistically, let alone freaking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're going to have to be working or something. They're not going to be a traditional
and I
woman if
mean,
that's what you're looking for.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say like
Mhm.
that's same thing with that. I like when I was on that podcast with Brandon Carter, and I've spoken to a couple of other people, and they told me like honestly, the minute they started focusing on just one woman and building with that woman, their finances significantly grow. Their goal in life was just different. They're like, if you understand, like relationships are kind of all the same in every situation, like business and relationships, business, your relationships with business, with your relationship with your partner, your relationship with everyone, it's kind of all mutual. So you don't really have the effort to put into a bunch of women that are going to be dramatic and you have to explain yourself. And it's you think it is a multitask that you can balance it, but the quality of your life instantly goes down, and your finances, you just like living, you basically work to provide for the 5 chicks that you're smashing. And there's like, what's the end game here, friend? Like, because after a while you're like, if only a woman would understand some empathy for a guy whenever he's down bad, or if he's just going through like a crisis with work. That's essentially what they're looking for if they have a real goal in life. Now if you're soulless and you're broken, like the one guy that Pearl had on her show with his girl, this white guy, and he was like dating some Brazilian chick, and he's literally said what it's his coping mechanism because of how he was raised, being told that he wasn't shit, he wasn't gonna amount to anything. So for every time he conquers a new vagina, it makes him feel like he is somebody. It's
Beta.
just
So
it's
it's a
embarrassing.
trauma thing. It results
Yeah.
back to filling that void. It's a trauma response,
Imagine
And
the
I think
women like going for that. How can those women go for that? Like after hearing him say that a lot.
Well, that's the thing. The girls that he goes for are in third world countries because the girl that he's with, they're both in an open relationship. And you understand, like, why is she
Ugh.
okay with that? Because she's like,
money
dude, you're
talk.
giving me a better life than I would have had by myself or with the guy that I grew up with. Because a lot of the women in my country know, like, they have the love of their life that they grew up with, but their parents scold them on it for the fact, like, dude, you're poor, he's poor, you can't grow from that. So at the end of the day, you thrive off of the fact that this guy is dumb enough to spend his entire life, like he literally says word for word, uh, I've dedicated my entire life to learn the dating game, bro. It's not that hard. It's just
That's so
balance.
beta. It makes me sick to hear a statement like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to have to study the dating game, it's not something that men have to study. It's just something that it grows naturally, within you. That's why, for me, my story when I was dating a chick about 5 years ago, I didn't know how to operate that relationship, which is funny because previously I was able to do things like that, but somewhere along the way, I just shapeshift to a beta male. It happens. We all take an L at some point in time, but with that, it just made me learn about, okay, this is how she was treating me. Now I understand what's more important, which is not necessarily her, but my focus on me, make my money, take care of myself. Once I did that, I started seeing a change in her chasing me. And I was like, I'm not going to give into that negativity because I can see now she's using me. Now she wants to call me for this and call me for that. I don't got time for that. I'm with my boys or I'm by myself. I don't need all that toxicity. I started seeing everything change based on that. And that's what made me kind of see the female nature today. No, not all, but I just saw and I was just like, man, it's women like this. And I hate to say this out loud, but she was a single mom. So that kind of was a different dynamic as well. So seeing how she was kind of, rotating dudes, you know what I mean? I was in that rotation. I was like, yeah, this just ain't for me. Even just with the chicks who didn't have kids, just kind of seeing how they operate. And I was like, man, maybe it's not the mostly the women, it's just the women that I'm picking.
Bro, you
You know
got
what
out clean. You didn't end up having a kid with her. You know what I mean? You got out clean considering.
Well, I'm a big
I mean?
believer.
What can I say? No, I'm playing.
I'm a big believer that what we attract is a reflection of ourselves. And I feel like when I see a lot of people that complain about the quality of men or women that they're attracting, it's very into where they're at with themselves in their lives. And I think it's mirrored back to us. Everything is a reflection of us. And like I tell women, if you complain about men who ain't shit, 9 times out of 10, it's probably because you're being an ain't shit woman. You're probably not stepped into the essence of your femininity, and all you're attracting is men that you don't like, but you have not realized yet within yourself that it's a personal problem. You have to elevate if you want an elevated man in your life. You have to face the parts of yourself that you've been running from in order to get a man who is also willing to face himself, um, and willing to step up and elevate for you. You know, you got to do the things for yourself and enhance yourself before you should expect to attract somebody with that same drive, both with themselves and to bring that drive into a relationship, to have a healthy relationship, because relationships are work and it's constantly up and down. You know, me and my man have been together 10 years. It's not always perfect. We're always growing at different paces, and we've had to learn the tools of how to, you know, still keep things solid between us, even when we're each going and growing through something. And I don't
So
feel like a
Amy,
lot of women understand that.
that
Hold on.
reminds me.
You
When I
said,
was doing my, real quick, just when I was doing my homework on you guys, you said something along the lines of, "All men want is sex." When a woman's complaining like that, she's pretty much projecting the fact that all she has to offer is sex,
Yeah.
right? Is
Yeah.
that
And
is that correct?
I stand by that, because I feel like men looking for a solid woman, like let's say a woman that they are like, okay, this is a woman that I could wife, this is a woman that I could have children with. There's certain qualities that they look for in a woman, and it's usually her mind. How is this woman? What are her moral values? What kind of values would she raise our children with? If I was down bad, would she be a solid woman, right? And when you're with a woman who's just always not on that same page with herself, or she's super like, you know, YOLO city girl vibes, a man isn't seeing a woman that in the long run will be a healthy partner to build a healthy family. Because
Yeah,
ultimately
he's seeing a
men
piece
have
of
their
ass because that's
young.
all you are. That him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hear your point.
You know, men have their fun young, and when they're young, and they tend to, as they mature, want to look for a more mature, stable woman that will be the backbone of their family and be that partner that they can rely on. And when girls and women are just being, you know, like hot girls, there
Yeah, because
you're
then
not
that's all they
giving
are to
out.
that guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
you're not giving out qualities that a man would want to wife, or that a man would want this type of woman to raise his kids. And of course, I mean, men aren't going to turn down what's easy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, they'll take
So
some booty,
if
but they're
all you're
never gonna
giving
wipe
out
you
is
up.
exactly. So, and then a lot of women, I feel like they look at as themselves as being fuckable as them being wifeable. And I think they equate
Big
the two.
mistake.
I think they say, okay, the more men in my DMs, the more options I have of men that want me or want to be with me. And it's like they only want to be with you sexually, though. They don't want to spend their life with you.
Catastrophic
You know,
mistake, ladies.
attractability doesn't
You're
mean
one of two
wifeability.
things to a man. You're either a piece of ass or a potential mate, wife candidate. You're not the one. Don't confuse with the other because they're very, very different. And to Angela's point, on the other side of that, men who feel like women are just all about being gold diggers and all about the money, it's probably because all they have to offer is money.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no emotional like intelligence. There's no, you know, the mystery of being a man. Maybe they don't, you know, as women, we're not seeing the qualities in a man. Like, could this man protect us? If someone were to like burst in this house, would he like know what to do? If I'm out and about and someone disrespects us, would he be able to step up and handle it? You know, see with finances, how does he handle stuff? Because those are things that us women look for as well. We look for security, not necessarily just financially, but security with our heart. Because if we're going to give you our all, that's a lot to put on the line. If we're going to sacrifice our life, our career to raise your children, that's a lot of sacrifice that we're going to make. That's a lot of things that we are going to put to the side to devote ourselves to a man. And so we got to see those qualities in a man. That, are you a man worthy of my submission? Are you a man worthy of me, you know, setting my stuff to the side to focus what we could build together, husband and wife, you know, family, kids, getting a home. So we look for those qualities, you know, in a man. And if all a man can do is flash his pockets and all his material items, but he has no substance within himself, he can't think, he can't, you know, be emotionally intelligent in certain aspects, if he can't, you know, hold a good intellectual conversation and just meet those markers for us, then yeah, of course, to men, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, all this girl wants is, you know, she's just a fucking gold digger.
So maybe I'll take him for a free
Or
meal,
vice
but
versa.
that's about the same thing as the man just taking her for a piece of ass.
He goes
Yeah,
on dates.
pretty
He's
much.
like, "Oh, my Porsche keys just dropped. Oops, that $100. I'm sorry about that.
Hey,
Is
what
that
was
my
that
Rolex
TV show? Was
watch
it
down
like Boy
there?"
Meets World or something where he used to have a Porsche keychain, but he didn't have a Porsche, and he used to do that to try to like convince women that he was rich.
Yeah. So I want to segue into. Can we have like half an hour left. I just want to segue real quick into the Steven Crowder situation. So, for those who don't know, Steven Crowder, right-wing pundit, became Christian not too long ago, or maybe he's been practicing his whole life. Had a situation with his wife where he announced his divorce because I guess some people knew about it, and then the video got leaked. And within this video, it shows him kind of talking to his wife a certain way. A lot of conservatives did not like it. Amy, we talked about this behind the scenes about Candace Owens and his beef with Candace Owens. Now, Stephen had beef with Candace Owens. For those who don't know, those who are watching, he had beef with her because of the Daily Wire situation when he was trying to talk about the contract and bringing on new blood to his team, Latimer Crowder, and I guess he was trying to have deals with other people to move away from like Blaze TV, all these big corporations. So I guess he got into talks with Daily Wire, but he didn't like the contract Daily Wire presented. But when you start to find out what Steven's talking about, realized that his contract was not as great as Daily Wire's. So there's that beef, and he thought that Candace was throwing subliminals to him back in January when this whole thing was going down. So now, fast forward, he announces his divorce because people were talking about it, kind of publicizing it. And then a video was leaked, which now Candace Owens has said that is from his wife, that shows how he's been. I guess he's always had anger issues. He's been emotionally manipulative and things. Emotionally abusive for quite some time. Him and his wife have been married since 2012. The divorce happened in 2021. I guess Steven Crowder was, he hired a divorce attorney. His wife didn't know about it, and then that's why she filed for divorce based on him hiring an attorney. So we're gonna watch this clip. I want to kind of get everybody's take on this because I have my opinion, and I don't really see what conservatives are kind of uproar about, especially with Candace Owens. And I'll tell you a reason why. It's a certain thing she said a year ago, which is totally opposite of what she's saying now. So let me play this video real quick, and then I'll get to that. Let me do this.
I have a feeling there's going to be some hot takes here, folks. This is where the show's going to get a little spicy. Maybe a difference of opinions. Buckle up.
Maybe. I feel the heat already, man. I got to take this jacket off now.
We're repping for Jerry Springer, who just passed away recently. We're just carrying the torch.
Yeah, R.I.P. Yeah, R.I.P. Jerry Springer. He was the first red pill to show female nature. No. Yeah, he passed away. It's crazy. Some are trying to say it's because of the poop poop, but I don't know for sure. That's to be debated about.
No, that's the thing. Who knows? But it could be. Who knows?
Yeah, but R.I.P. Jerry Springer, man. It was good stuff in the 90s. So here is the video right here. Real quick too, and Steven Crowder also accused Candace Owens of extortion, which is why he called her out.
They have a beef with each other. Candace does not like him. He does not like her. There's no love lost for them.
Yeah. So excuse the ads. I gotta get up on my premium when it comes to YouTube. So
at least it's not about pooping and stuff this time, man.
That was wild, man. I swear it had nothing to do with me.
Dogging us out over here.
I'm gonna start from the beginning. See, come on, man. See what I was talking about? Now it's showing me men. What the hell?
The AI's trolling us, Julius. They're like, let's put a poop comment.
I'm telling you, man. Chat GTP, whatever it's called.
Well done, robot. Well done.
That'll do, robot. That'll do. Hold on. Hopefully, it starts from here and the more ads.
These freaking robots, man. That's the world we're coming into. Get used to it, people.
All right, we're gonna start from right here, and then we'll watch the whole thing.
I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary of abuse. You were not taking the car because if you refuse to do wifely things,
can you guys hear it?
Pick up the groceries. Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. I know it's not a reasonable request, but I'll go do it. How about you first? Billy, how do you respect the man? Yes. Other than that, receive love of respect. No. Other than that, no, you're not taking the car. You're not taking the car. You are not.
Then I will ask them to. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
That reminds me of Trump. I'm not giving you a question. I will not give you a question.
I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Steven.
Like, I can't
Steven.
go. Listen to me. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't go. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed Nick has made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either.
See,
Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you're going to be back when I'm back?
Steven.
The only way out of it is discipline and respect. It's the only way out of it, or we're at an impact.
We already did pass.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline or respect.
Steven.
Yeah. There you go. You throw your hand, you give up so easily.
I don't give up to
Hillary,
Steven.
you give up so easily. I just said the only way out of this is discipline or respect. You said, then we're at an impact.
Steven, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Steven, your piece is sick. Your piece
Watch it.
is sick.
Watch it. Watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get what you need me to get. And I need some space. We need to just fucking make it out of it. Okay? I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D. You go, no. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's disrespectful. Hillary, you're right. We're in that. Become someone who's in it, day in and day out, worthy of a life. No, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife. Hillary, come on now.
I'm not gonna engage. I'm not gonna engage anymore. I'm gonna go. I'll get text me what you need. I'll get you what you need. I love you. I'm committed to you.
But I'm taking the car, and I don't know what I'll be there.
You committed enough to do those things?
I'm not
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you and committed to that. Walk the dogs, put on some gloves. Walk the dogs, put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm ready.
Walk the dogs, put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to get the medication as well? Okay, take that in.
All right, so this right here says, as Crowder heads inside, Stephen gets angrier and angrier, and by his own admission, screams, "I will F you up," at his pregnant wife Hillary, who then flees the home. There's not much more after this. I kind of where it ends. So I'll end it right here.
Who's adding this context at the end? Where's the clip? Why don't they just show?
And so this is what I was going to touch on. You read this statement right here. Let me go back to the fourth screen. You read this statement right here, and then you read that he said, "I will F you up," supposedly, right? But there's no audio, right? If you're somebody who's going to put out this content, you would think the first thing they put out is the fact that he said this. Mind you, there's a document, and I'm trying to get to all the document stuff, but my computer is being really slow. But there's a document that says that when he did say that, supposedly, that he actually realized what he did and kind of pulled back. Like he immediately realized what he did, and then Hillary kind of just went her way.
But who's even adding this editorialization at the end? Like, who's the source here? I'm
So
confused.
the first, yeah, you see a name across the screen that says Yashir Ali. He was the one that reported it. I'm guessing he was working with Candace. The video was leaked by his wife to Candace and things like that. Now, if you guys noticed in that video, there's a jump cut, and that's important. Because about like 24 seconds in, there's a jump cut. So about 30 seconds is missing from that clip. So it makes you wonder what was taken out and why did it start with him responding and not before that. This is why I think stuff like this needs to be broken down. Let me give you an example. When you see a police officer shoot a black person, right, everybody freaks out. Oh my God, it's racist, white supremacy. Oh my God, we need civil rights. But then you start watching the whole clip, you like the black dude came out with a knife like this, and the officer said pow pow. That's the reason why he was shot. Do you see what I'm saying? You need a lot more context. So we're watching a 3-minute video over a 10-year relationship. We don't know the happy days, the bad days, the this and that. I'm sure they had other bad days like that as well. But why this particular incident back in 2021, they had this footage and it's now being shown right now. Conservatives were online saying, we knew he was always like this. Well, where was your statement at a year ago, 2 years ago? If you knew he was always like this, why didn't you speak about this?
Well,
Do you see
I
what
want to get
I'm
Angela's take. Angela looked like she was falling out of her chair during the clip, so I'm curious to hear her thoughts on this.
Well, okay, I get what Jules is saying. But I think there's just ways to deal with I don't know, discourse in a relationship. Like, I don't care what anyone says or does. There's no reason for a man to react that way. There's no reason. I don't care if I called your mom a bitch. If you want me to check my personality for my enraged hormones or whatever the hell it could be, walk out. Like, my rule in a relationship is like, if you can't get to me and I can't get to you, I'm not going to put water in our boat by saying things that we can't take back. And if you're going to say things that you cannot take back, that's your fault for not having the discipline and control to steer the relationship back on the rails. Because I do believe in, like, if you don't know how to communicate, then you need to let things sizzle down. And like with my relationship, whenever things get a little bit too escalated, like it used to in the beginning when we didn't know how to communicate, my number one rule coming from like a domestic violent home was like, we're never going to put our hands on each other. We're never going to threat each other. I don't care what you feel at that moment. I don't think it's healthy to do that. And for him, it was more so like, I grew up around women. This is how I talk to women. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not those women. I was like, and I'm not submitting to that. So for me, it was a matter of setting those boundaries and pulling back and letting time sizzle down, and for him to be like, okay, well, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about it now. I'm not going to call you the B word. I'm not going to be aggressive. I'm not going to be this way. So it forced both of us to grow in the darkest moment of our life, as opposed to gaslighting each other pound for pound, because you're not going to get anywhere. Like, it's like, and for someone like him, this Steven Crowder guy, who is as rich as he is, has one freaking car and has like kids and all, like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, you guys could have figured out how to communicate. You communicate to the public, or you're known for that. He just reminds me of like, do you guys know Vince Vaughn, when he's known for his like roles in movie where he was just mouthy, hella freaking mouthy? That's not an attractive personality to have as a man. Stoicism is a handsome. Everybody likes that. Everyone likes Keanu Reeves. Everyone likes Denzel. Why? Because they know when to talk, and how to submit you in a place of where if you're acting barbaric, Keanu Reeves can get a hooker to shut up. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, there's ways to deal with women, regardless of how erotic they are with men and with people. They act that way because they believe they can pull that off. And if you gaslight them, you're proving their point as to why they need to be that way. So that's my only take.
Amy's take too, but Angela, see, my homework again is coming in handy. You had a quote, I believe. You said, it takes a certain type of guy to make a girl sit down and shut up. Right?
I said that? No, I don't think I said that.
It was in regards to finding a man that is worthy of leading. You want a man to lead. You meant to.
No,
it seemed to me you meant it in a good way. It's like, look, I want to follow a man's lead, but it takes a certain temperament for me to not. To have respect for him and want to follow.
I was the one who said that, and for me, I genuinely meant that.
Angela, did I say Amy? I'm so sorry. I said I wanted to get Amy's take, but Angela, I did my homework on you.
Oh, yeah, no, I was the one who said that. Just because, like, me coming from survival mode and coming from like a domestic background, like for me, it was like there was a lot of like people that I was surrounded by that were like, you need to submit to men. I'm like, but why? I'm like, you're running your mouth more than me. I was like, if you really want me to check myself as someone who is on survival mode and having to defend myself 90% of time, like the people that I worked with when I moved to Miami, I got offered like to be a co-host with somebody, and the guy had such an ego problem with my name being first and his name being second. Mind you, my name starts with the A, his name starts with an E. And for me, I was just like, I know you don't expect me to follow your lead when you can't even understand how to lead a relationship or a business partnership. I was like, I don't trust this relationship. So I refuse to submit to somebody who doesn't understand. It doesn't matter how loud you scream. It doesn't matter how much you kick. It doesn't matter how much power you think you have. If you can't do that on your own without people following you, if you have to force it, you don't have power. So that was it.
Amy, thoughts on the Crowder video? Or Julius,
before Amy gets your thoughts, I just want to say, can we at least question the fact that the video starts at a certain point? Because it starts with him responding. So I'm really curious to know what happened before that. Because what if he was calm up until that point? Do you get what I'm saying? There's always more context to it.
There's no excuse for that. Like, it was the things that were said. There's ways to deliver what you feel and what you say, but you don't demean someone to that level to where it's just like, yeah, like evidently, like I get, like she could have set up, she could have known that thing was recording and she knew what she was doing.
I think she did, by the way. I think it was a setup, but he fell right into the trap.
And that's the thing. My partner, literally, like, if we get into an argument and I get a little nasty because I'm on my period, let's just hypothetically say I did. He would literally be like, all right, I'm blocking you for 24 hours. Let me know when you're done being a bitch and when you actually want to communicate like an adult, because this is not how you usually are. This is like unreasonable. And you're talking about someone who has a relationship. They have kids. They have things that they've obviously been ups and downs with. So how are we getting to this point where like you're talking to me as if we're freshly dating? Like that's ridiculous. So I don't think there's any excuse for it.
So my take on it is that I think it's unrealistic to expect people to not have their breaking points. I mean, we don't know the ins and outs of their marriage. We don't know the ins and outs of what their problems have been based on what he said when he was like, do start doing wifely things. I think what got me the most out of what Steven Crowder said was when he started saying, when he started telling her, you can't take the car. No, you can't take the car. And then he goes, but do you see how I can't go to the gym? I can't go to these places. I'm boxed in. To the second, he was saying like, to the second, you have my life set for how it is for me. So the way I interpreted that is that behind the scenes, she's probably been the one managing everything that he does. And she's always been the one to be able to walk away whenever needed. So he's telling her, using her own strategies, no, you know how you tell me I can't go places? Guess what? Now you can't go places. You don't like how that feels, huh? It doesn't feel good to be restrained. It doesn't feel good for someone to talk to you like that. And it doesn't feel good coming from a partner that you don't even do your wifely duties. You don't do what you should do. And for me, I think it's kind of questionable, the fact that the time lapse is questionable. The time in everything that's going on is questionable. And more so as well, to see her calmness in the video and to see her say things like, I love you, I am committed to you. To me personally, I look at that as emotional manipulation. I think that the camera's rolling. I think you guys' relationship has probably been failing for many years. I think you guys both probably anticipated a divorce. And I think both of you were probably trying to have maybe one up on each other in some way, shape, or form. And I think her one up was knowing that a video was there. And I think she knew that she was inciting him with however their dynamic is, which is why he started reacting with things that trigger him. Like, well, no, you don't do your wifely things. No, like you can go places just like I can go places. No, like we are at, a fork in the road. And she was responding way too, for me, being a pregnant wife who's having a husband tell you these things, personally, I was like, girl, that was extremely calm for somebody having a husband telling you these things and really like calling you out about where you're failing as a wife or what you cannot do. And I personally look at that, based on how I know manipulation works, as something that was tactical, something that was a little bit manipulative, because it doesn't, she's like making sure that she looks like the one that has some kind of emotional sense in that moment, which I think is why he started getting even more upset, because when she started throwing out the word abusive out there, he was telling her, watch it, don't go there. Why? Because he knows that she's planting seeds that probably misconstrue how they are in their relationship. So those
she's
are the
gaslighting him, it seems like
that
she's gaslighting him at that point.
picked up on, that I'm like,
Also, too, it was the fact that, like, see, I think with this video, it's going to look like we're all railing on her. And then it's like, no, but Steven Crowder is wrong. I think tonality, it doesn't sound good. Tonality. But I listen to what Steven's saying, and he's saying, when I ask you something, you say no. But then you say, I love you more than life itself. Almost like you're being combative, but trying to play victim at the same time. No, I don't want to do it. But I love you, Steven. But I don't want to do it. But
do that. It's like, no, you don't. You're treating me like you fucking don't. Like, stop telling me you love me.
On all topic
but
with
he behaved terribly, unforgivable. He fell into a bad look. That's for sure.
I will go to say that, yes, I get what you guys are saying, that's how what women say. But again, I would say that women and men show love in different ways. Like men sacrifice their freedom, their finances in certain ways where it's like, it's easier for them to be single than to be in a relationship. but then when a woman gets, she just wants to be loved. And I would say that the communication for men and women is so different. To her, it's not a matter of like wanting to do something for him. It's how you tell her to do it, and the fact that she doesn't feel like she wants to do it. And to me, it's like the dynamic of the relationship is already unhealthy, because obviously Buddy's not leading the relationship correctly. Like it's so unhealthy, because of like, you're talking about kids, you're talking about money, you're talking about status, you're talking about all this crap. And the way that the world is, I would have to say, like, for it to get to a point where you have to tell your girl what to do is already what's wrong with the relationship, because she should want to do it. And with women, like for me, I want to do things for him, regardless of what my status or how much money I make. When I'm with him, I turn into the complete opposite of whatever the world sees me for what it is. So it's like, how is that not set in the relationship? And why do we have to talk to each other this way? So I would say, like, as a man who quote unquote wants to lead a relationship, should that not already been set for the years that you've been together? And to me, like, why is it your woman feels that she can defy you in the levels that you have to tell her what to do? Because my man doesn't have to tell me what to do. I just know what to do and when to do it.
But Angela, can
Well,
we
I
all
think
agree
that
that
there can
somebody
be
had
many.
to have leaked the video? Somebody had
I
to have
agree.
leaked it, and
No,
it certainly
I agree
wasn't
with that.
Steven. I don't think it's a good look on his part. So it must have been her. And from what I'm understanding, this is a 2021 video. So why is she leaking it now? And then there's this like narrative context added to it. I'm kind of with Amy, where I feel like it was maybe like a setup. Like she
But
No,
my
I
thought.
thing
agree
is
with
this as
that.
well. This is a 3-minute video of how long has their marriage been?
10 years.
Anybody
So
know?
they've been married since
This is
2012.
this is a 3-minute video of 1-year marriage. Things there is ups and downs in every relationship. There is very, very low points, and there's very,
No
very high
points, and
points.
there's very,
And
very
I
high
think
points. I think
I don't think it's
I don't
intelligent
think
to
it's
judge any
intelligent to judge
relationship
any
at a
relationship
very low point
at a very low
or
point
when a high point.
or a really
I think
high
you
point.
should judge
I
the
think it's
judge
echoing.
person or the
the
quality of
Julius,
the
bad
relationship.
echo. I'm not seeing that. Sorry, Amy,
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Go
Oh, there we
ahead.
go. I think that everyone should judge the quality of a relationship. No, it's still
Oh,
still
there
going.
it is.
Try again now.
Okay,
Check.
now?
Testing. One,
Okay, there we
two.
go.
Testing. One,
Yeah.
two.
Nope.
No.
Still going.
Oh,
Hold on a second. Hold on.
hey, give Julius some slack, bro. He's doing wearing a lot of hats when he produces this show over there. He's doing a lot.
Is it still going now?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's
so.
still going. I think.
It's my Bluetooth. It's being hella weird.
Shit.
Yeah, maybe turn the speaker off until we like watch another clip or something.
Hold on a second. Let me
Should
try this.
everybody
Hold
mute
on.
themselves? Maybe that would help while one person talks.
That's a good idea.
I'm gonna try to turn off the Bluetooth real quick.
And if that don't work, just mute when you're not talking, I guess, like on
Back
Instagram.
on. Okay, how's that?
Testies 1 2. Testies 1 2.
That's good.
Testing,
Yeah. I
testing.
think that's all right.
Yeah, I think
Amy, I'm
Right.
sorry. Where were you?
The dang
No,
Bluetooth.
you guys are okay. No, what I was just saying is I think that it's very dangerous to judge a relationship when they're at a very high point and to judge a relationship when they're at a very low point. Ultimately, right, regardless of the image that Steven Crowder puts or the kind of woman that his wife, puts onto her loved ones, they're those that know her. No one knows the ins and outs of a marriage unless you're in it. And we're looking at two people that probably behind closed doors, like Angela mentioned earlier, who she is online when she's around her man, she turns into a completely different, loving, nurturing person. The same thing happens when you're behind the scenes with the person that you love. There's a different version of yourself that goes into your relationship that not the world doesn't get to see often. You know what I mean? And I think that conservatives right now it kind of reminds me of like the Me Too movement, just believe all women without the context of what is actually happening, because who knows if
Yeah.
Steven has been leading her for this many years and she went through maybe a mental health phase, maybe the pregnancy took a toll on her where she completely has let herself go and slack off as a woman and as a wife, and that took a toll on their relationship. Who knows if he's coming from that part where he's been trying to help her get back to where she should be as a woman, as a wife, and they just haven't they've hit the wall with it. It could be something like that, or it could be that maybe he's been abusive emotionally for however many years and she finally got fed up, so she was strategic with the video. Ultimately, none of us will know that. Nobody commenting it will know it because only they know the ins and outs of their relationship. But I think to judge the content of one's character in a moment of looking bad should not make us forget of all their good qualities. should I say? And I just because I've been in my relationship so long, every disagreement isn't always fucking pretty. There's depending on what we're disagreeing upon on, you know what I mean? Sometimes arguments get more heated than the others. You know, everyone has their breaking point, everyone has their tolerance level, and who knows how long each of them has been bending and, you know, bending their own self to make their relationship work, and they both could have reached a pivotal moment in their relationship where it hit the fan.
Man,
And
And
that's
Julius,
that's
the
my
believe
that's
all
my
women
take on
thing, to what you were talking about earlier when you teased this, Julius, I find that one of the more intriguing parts of all this. Candace Owens, who I believe during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation was cautioning we shouldn't believe any women, we should hear them out, but we should believe facts.
yeah,
Now all of a sudden it's quick to kind of having this like believe all women kind of vibe because she's got a beef with Crowder, it would seem.
yeah. Her tweet last year was about Amber Heard, and she said hashtag don't believe all women. She said listen to women and men.
yeah, and I
She
think
and men. But then when it comes to Stephen Crowder, like if you watch how she was talking about the segment, she has the way Candace presents this. She uses this kind of like victim voice. She's like, I don't want to really talk about it because Steven. I'm like, why is she talking like this? Why is she making it seem like he's like? And then she even said to her in her title, he's a monster. Changed my mind, mind you. When I watched that video, he's calm. Like he's sitting like with his legs crossed like this with a
Smoking a
cigar.
cigar or
And he's
something
like
like
he's
that.
chilling, bro. He's like chilling. And everybody's like trying to nitpick. Why is he smoking a cigar? And no offense to Angela,
well,
but I'm
it's in,
saying I
it's
heard a lot of people say
entertainment
this.
as well. You know,
Right,
Candace
right.
has a business, so I think that part of it, that aspect of it, of making it seem a lot bigger than it is, it comes with being in the entertainment business. I mean, we're all on social media, and I think that, you know, as Candace's platform has grown, the engagement and the level of engagement and how she speaks about things and talks about things partly goes into, you know, her business and how her, you know, how she runs in her social media and things like that. So I personally thought it was like real extra. I was like, this is really extra. This is really dramatic coming from Candace Owens, who usually is very like a sound mind, who usually is very much like, let's hear both sides because there's that side, and then the truth. Right. And then you just hear when you take into account the timing, you take into account the time lapse, you take into account, you know, that Stephen initiated the divorce, well, was going to get a divorce when his wife found out that he had hired a divorce attorney. Conveniently, all of this comes out. To me, it just looks very strategic on her part.
Yeah,
You know, that's not to invalidate whatever she's experienced in her marriage, only they know. But it looks from a woman's perspective that can recognize manipulation. To me, it looks very strategic, very calculated. Her demeanor seemed very calculated. It was just a few red flags that I picked up on.
No offense to Angela, but I saw people say this. We're talking about this on social media, actually, even before we talk about this. A lot of conservatives were veiling on the fact of the whole one car thing. They were saying, why does he have one car? They were alluding to the fact that, oh, they only have one car because he's trying to control where she goes. I don't think that's the case. I think that's just people kind of saying and speculating how they feel and not understanding the actual relationship as a whole. Again, this is 10 years we're talking about. I get that what he said is not right. I get what he said, you know, to her wasn't the best thing. As a man, he wasn't stoic in a chaotic situation. I think all men should be stoic in a chaotic situation, which is, for example, when you see my conversation I had with that one chick about the pro-life, pro-choice thing, I was very calm. I knew I can kind of go loud. I'm like, oh, clump of sales, what do you mean? But I'm very stoic because it's easy to kind of talk to folks that way. So he could have been like that. But I still think that there's so much more because it starts with him responding and her standing there. What was said before that led him to that point? I think that matters too. And the fact that there's a jump cut, that matters too. So to
I
me,
mean,
there's so many layers to this. But conservatives, the same ones who said not to believe all women, are now believing all women. I think it's funny how they kind of go in one way and then shift into the other based on how they feel and not what's real. I know that's quoting Myron, but it's just what it is. The
Can we
truth
all
doesn't
agree
matter.
that they have two of the most annoying names in the world? So not Steve, but Steven every time. Give me a fucking break. And secondly,
Hillary.
Hillary. It's just that's my take. That's
It
all
might be,
I
it
really
might
care
be
about.
like,
Yeah, I think it's for both ends of the spectrum. I think they sound like two very unhealthy people. Like I think like maybe it just probably ran its course. I would say a lot of relationships are really unhealthy. People don't know how to communicate with each other and they have a lot of water in their boat. And I would say yes, the video does seem very calculated, manipulative, but at the same time, I think like how you do one thing is how you do a lot of things. And seeing how he talks to her and seeing how I didn't get to see how she talks to him, but I know a lot of women that can be very manipulative and very evil and very malicious. And I have to agree that there's things that women will push men in a corner to a level of them getting to that enraged. But to me, as a man, there's things that you shouldn't, invoke and you shouldn't give into it and you shouldn't allow that. And I know we live in a world where we couldn't talk about the should and the could and the would. But the reality is, like, as a man with the status and the money and whatever it is that you may have, and the repetitive manipulation, you have to understand what the type of person you're dealing with. You have to choose whether you are going to evolve and get out of that, or understand that you're living with this misery and you're enabling it both ways. So I'd say like both people seem very unhealthy and they both brought it upon each other, and maybe they just don't know how to get out of it. But I'm not going to sit here and say that both are innocent or not. And yeah, and that's it. That's just my take.
They both look awful. Julius, do you have any final thoughts? Or let's have some fun watching some clips on the way out.
yeah, I'll just say real quick. I think there's more story to it. Again, it's a 10-year marriage. I'm sure they had a lot of good times. We just saw the bad time, and now we're taking that and saying, "I knew he was a monster," because they're correlating his work ethics. Because he had 3 employees that dipped out and said not so good things about how they work with him. Your work ethic is one way. Your marriage is another. So try to correlate the two, I think it's not fair. It's a straw man, in my opinion. So I think there's more to the story. Steven said he will come out with all the evidence, everything, sometime this week. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to report on
Stay tuned
it.
to the shit show.
Yeah, shameless plug. I'm going to
So-
report on it today with Julius. YouTube, check me out. So, shameless plug.
You guys, I don't think I'm going to be able to have time to stay for the reaction videos because at 8:30 I have to leave and I have to get ready for that right now. But I don't. Are you guys going to continue to do reactions?
Not so much longer because it's about 2 hours already. We're pretty much at
Right. Angela, how you looking? Are you gonna?
I mean, I'm chilling at the moment. Like I'm good if you guys want to do it, but if not, we can save it for another time. Whatever works.
Let's put on a cliffhanger for round 2. Let's get them
Yeah.
both back, Julius, soon.
Yeah, let's do that. 'Cause I don't want to keep you guys longer than you already have. I mean, it would be fun. Don't get me wrong, because Steve Harvey is a crazy dude. So
Oh my
No, I
God.
wish I could, but I can't.
him his Family Feud survey says no, but
Women don't have to bring any value. I'm a big freaking simp.
isn't he married like on his 5th marriage? So what's he
I don't
talking?
know, dude. He wrote a book about like. Never mind. That's a cliffhanger for round 2. Don't
So
get me
I will say
frustrated on
this.
that.
Any last thoughts from everybody on the panel? We'll start with Amy. Any last thoughts you want to get to the audience? Things you want to plug? Anything new coming up? What you got?
You guys can go ahead and follow my podcast page. It's up and coming. I'm getting a little bit of traction to it, which is good. It's testimonial based, and I interview people and we share our testimonies and the wisdom that we've gathered from life. And that's at For the Souls podcast. You can find me on any streaming platform. Other than that, you guys, thank you for having me. All of you guys were awesome to speak with. Angela, it was so good to virtually meet you because I know that our TikTok followers had us like interact.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for hosting and having such a good conversation. I appreciate it.
It was like how high we get Fox with each other. And then Angela, any last thoughts? Anything you want to plug? Anything new coming up? What you got?
Everything is still in the works for me, but you can find me at Angela Knight 2.0 to be the 2.0 version of yourself. Sounds super cheesy, but y'all need to work on yourself. People on the internet, and do not believe everything you see in the internet. It is not safe out there, and please do your research.
Right?
Yeah, please, people, get off the internet, go touch some grass, and go outside. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right on. Did you already say where the folks can follow you at?
Yep, Angela Knight 2.0. I got them both, her and Amy, in the YouTube live chat, so people can go follow them on Instagram.
And then Nick, any last thoughts from you? Anything new coming up? Where people can follow you at?
I got a lot, but honestly, I know a high note when I hear one, and I want to roll out on what the 2 ladies said. Nothing particular to promote at the moment, so it's been a banger. This has been a great comeback show. Julius, my man, how about you?
Real quick, if you guys, Amy and Angela, just stick around behind the scenes just for like 5 minutes. I just want to make sure you guys have fun. It's not just like 5 minutes. But I will say to you guys watching, look, thank you guys for watching, man. We appreciate you guys. We're trying to grow this platform. Do like this video. Do share it. This episode was a banger. I think it was a banger. I have fun. Fantastic time. Want to get more guests on here like Amy and Angela to get some hot takes, maybe controversial stuff. Probably bring them back on, get a bigger panel. Be way more fun to see the real conversation start to happen. So appreciate you guys. Again, follow me on social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Gab, Rumble, all that stuff. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Asian Men Podcast and follow us on Instagram at Asian Men Podcast on Instagram. So appreciate you guys. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I always adapt that from Anomaly. Shout out to Anomaly. That's the homie for sure. Appreciate you guys, and we will catch you guys all next time. Until then, have a good one.